Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. And Gal is here.
Good morning. Happy 4th of July.
Happy Independence Day.
Well, for you, Independence Day. For me, 21 years of marriage. So,
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations. That's more important there.
That's almost as old as I am, Gal. That's not good.
Oh, it's great.
hey, that's a you problem.
I mean, touche, my friend. Touche.
Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by VMix Software, by DudeInIT.com, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. And Spence is not going to be here today. He is traveling with the family. He may not be here for a few weeks. Few shows. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Said I'm glad I woke up then.
I'm glad you woke up too. Come on.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Woke up at a decent hour.
I know. Yep. So what's going on?
Nothing. Just celebrating the greatest land that has ever been.
You're going to Southport?
Yep. And then to Southport, North Carolina this afternoon. Hung out at Carolina Beach all day yesterday.
Yeah, tell them from when to when.
From about 9 o'clock till about 6. Good day at the beach.
Wow. Oh, and was it crowded?
Packed.
Oh.
I mean, not at 9 o'clock, but from, as it slowly started filling in after that. But yeah, nice day. Water was nice. Weather was nice. No rain. Nice and sunny. Wasn't too hot.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to see if there's any rain yesterday. So you look at the radar and there's no rain anywhere in the vicinity of North Carolina.
Yeah, that low pressure system that moved through on Thursday into Friday will give us some fair weather clouds through the early part of the week until that tropical storm makes its way through Florida and up the coast. So we're good till probably midweek.
Yeah, and I was looking at the and those of you that don't know, Nick is a weather freak.
Well,
he knows. Thank
you for the kind words.
He knows it all. He's into it. But I was looking at
a streaming idiot.
10 days and 5 days, and none of them are mentioning like really bad for Raleigh. Even though the cone is we're within the cone. So I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, well, look at you.
It's way too far out to know exactly what.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't even supposed to become a hurricane when it did. That was very surprising. That was 8 o'clock.
But it's going to be over
Friday morning,
over land for a long time before it gets here. So
well, that's the question. That's the thing with the infamous cone of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Is people think the cone of uncertainty means it's going to follow the middle. No, it means that the middle of the storm could be anywhere between the cone,
right?
All the way from the left, all the way to the right. It's a hard with a text graphic. It's hard to or a still graphic. It's hard to illustrate that because
But
obviously you draw your line up the middle, but that's not.
because you're
It
not
has
sure.
just as good of a chance as
Yeah.
following that as it does following something all the way to the left, all the way to the right. It's
But if it
weird.
follows that line, it's over land.
Correct.
the
But
way.
if it falls
So
more to the
could
right
it-
side, it'll pop back out it'll pop back out between Florida and Georgia, and it could strengthen through up the Georgia, South Carolina coast, and then do some stuff over here. So who knows? Either way, it won't be anything too crazy. It'll just be some wind and rain.
Yeah, and
A
listen,
thunderstorm the other day that destroyed my freaking azalea tree in the front yard. I'm pretty pissed about that.
a thunderstorm did that?
Yeah. Well, the tree has just started blooming,
bush.
so it's got all the flowers on. That's a tree. It's a big tree. Not a big tree. It's
Wow.
a decent sized little tree thing. And since it's got all of its flowers on it, it got wet, which caused it to start drooping. And then it was windy. It snapped a whole bunch of the branches off. So now I'm going to go clean all that up. Thanks, Mother Nature. Thanks for nothing.
Look what Alan said. Yeah, and I was reading about this. Their temperature in Western Canada. This is amazing, but it's a fluke kind of. 121. Yeah, you can go outside and just cook an egg. Yeah, Arnie, I called him a weather freak, not a freak. He's into weather. And the other big thing that happened computer-wise this week is the new social media app GETTR, which it's not really Trump thing, but it's somebody that used to be in his
Jason Miller.
Yeah. Is putting it out, and I'm sure that TR it has something to do with Trump.
It starts today, or it opens today, doesn't it?
But boy, oh boy, it took a long time to get registered, and a lot of people are getting in. It'll be interesting to see what happens with it.
What's your username on there?
Amnon.
Nice. Well, then you should tell people to go follow you.
Yeah, that I was going to say in the forum that everybody needs to put. I was looking for you and I couldn't find you. I was looking for your name. What did you put?
Nick Craig. And actually, our friend Mike, since I couldn't create my account, Mike Phillips created me my account. So
yeah, I found Mike Phillips, but I couldn't find you.
I'm at Nick Craig. I'm populating my profile as we speak.
All right, I'll do it later. But yeah, we'll see how it works. Along the same lines, I was reading a story that remember Florida passed a law that if any big social media company bans any politicians in Florida or all kind of things, but to ban them if they're running for local office, whatever, that they could find them. And it was it became law on Thursday, and Friday a federal judge stopped it, saying that because they didn't include everybody. They said that it doesn't include Disney, but I don't know that Disney has a social media that people follow and have politics in it and all that. I don't know. It's going to open a door for a lot of talk, and maybe they'll finally do something about Twitter and Facebook.
It's the old $1 million question.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Arnie, it's GETTR.com. Oh, you already put it, Nick. I didn't.
Yes, sir.
And what is Rumble, Arnie?
Rumble's a video platform.
Oh, okay. No, this platform here is sort of like following or
It's Twitter.
mimicking Twitter. Yeah.
Very much Twitter. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Um, we keep hearing things about chips that are short supply and chip problem, and we can't they can't produce enough and all that. According to CNBC, the UK largest chip producer, Newport Wafer Fab, is set to be acquired by Chinese-owned semiconductor company Nexperia for around 87 million next week. The deal comes shortly after the crown jewel of the UK tech industry, ARM, agreed to be acquired by US chip giant Nvidia for $40 billion. Located in Newport, South Wales, privately held NWF chip plant dates back to 1982, and it is one of just a handful of semiconductor fabricators in the UK. Nexperia is set to announce the takeover as soon as Monday or Tuesday. We are in constructive conversation with NWF and Welsh government about the future of NWF. And Nexperia spokesman said that until we have reached a conclusion, we cannot further comment. So this deal comes during a global chip shortage that has led countries to try and become more independent when it comes to semiconductors production. The vast majority of today's chips are manufactured in Asia, with Taiwan, TSMC, South Korea's Samsung, and China's SMIC among the largest chip producers in the world. And I was asking myself, why would they sell? If everybody is trying to ramp up production and they can make more money and all that, why did they sell now? I mean, I don't have the inside story, but it's I don't know, when you read something like this, you cringe and you said, okay, here, China got another one. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what comes out of all this situation with the chips.
No, as of right now, nothing. I mean, it's been now going on the better part of 2 years. That's where we stand currently, unfortunately.
Yep. And it's not like that we don't have the capacity to do it or the capability to do it. I don't know if it's not
Well, we don't.
profitable. I mean, we can
It's
build.
not.
We can build.
It's not profitable.
Yeah,
But yeah. I mean, if you go on Mauser or DigiKey and you look at the little components that you can buy for pennies, literal pennies, yeah, we can't compete with that.
Yeah.
So the wait continues for a graphics card. Patiently waiting.
Yeah, it does. And Gal, tell us a story about the new computer and what you're thinking about doing with your graphics card.
So yeah, so my son is finally um, leaving the house for college. He's been in the past year and a half. He's been doing college from home. But now with things getting a bit back closer to normal, he's going to go to student housing, and he plays. I mean, he's a gamer, right? He plays a lot of video games, and so this is basically the first time we're buying a gaming computer for him. This computer I'm using is a gaming computer. It's an Alienware, but it's not one that I wanted him to start his own life with. So I said, okay, let's buy you a new one. But as Nick has been warning us for months on end, right? It's not going to be easy buying those graphics cards specifically. Everything's going to be expensive. And indeed, NVIDIA has a fabulous new set of video cards, but the MSRP, which is around $600, that is non-existent. They start at 1,700. If you're lucky.
You're talking about in the third-party marketplace.
Yeah, because you cannot buy them directly from NVIDIA. You cannot buy them directly from MSI. You cannot buy them directly from Asus. They just don't exist in stock. And when stock comes in, it disappears immediately.
Yep.
So the only place you can get them are in eBay and Amazon by third-party sellers. And they exist there. So biting the bullet,
a solution,
because there is a solution.
The solution is the pre-built market.
But
that's got its own problems.
So it's not as if the pre-built market is substantially cheaper.
No,
it is substantially cheaper than the scalpers.
Correct.
But it's still a lot more expensive than it used to be.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I went on another pre-built, another Alienware.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I went with Alienware, because if you're in Nick's circles, then buying Alienware is too much of a compromise. There is a lot of issues when it comes to buying a pre-built from Alienware. People complain about the quality of the setup. There's a lot of complaint around it. But there is one huge advantage. Alienware sells extended warranties. So if you buy a computer from them, right, you can buy directly from Dell, you can get the computer with an extended warranty. Yeah, you pay for it, but with an extended warranty, and you can get it covered for up to 4 years. So especially with something like biting the bullet on a very expensive setup, they are still the most reasonably priced setup compared to all others. And so instead of a computer that they would sell 2 to 3 years ago, the equivalent of a $2,000 build, today you're going to pay $3,000. Still much more expensive than anything else that you would do previously. So it's 30%. It's at least a 30% up markup of the price. So yeah, long story short, buying gaming hardware right now, super expensive, if possible at all. Building your own, next to impossible.
You can get everything else, you just can't get the graphics card.
Yeah.
And this has been
and you might think you can get it for very high prices, but then you might get a dud or a fake.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the problem that this pressure in the marketplace created, right? You can't trust the marketplace at this point.
It's a really there's numerous issues with it. The biggest one being, again, this is specifically for the video game market. You look at some of the E3 was just a couple weeks ago, and you look at some of the new trailers for some of these games, the new Battlefield. For a majority of individuals, these games are going to come out, and you're not going to be able to play them. Like my video card is at an age where I'm not going to be able to play some of these newer games, and it's not because I don't have the cash to buy a new video card. It's because they don't exist. So it's not only going to hurt. It's not only hurting the end consumer who can't get a new card. It will likely hurt sales of newer games because people aren't going to buy a $60 title that they're going to have to run on low graphic settings. It's just not, you'll lose a lot of that experience. So I don't know what's going to happen here, but this has been a year plus long issue now. And, yeah, just continue to wait. I mean, I don't even bother looking anymore. That's how limited the supply is. It's not, there's nothing to even try to buy. It's just that's how bad it is.
I'm wondering the fact that GPUs are in that kind of a situation right now, why do the game developers actually do something that requires hardware that 99% of the customers will not be able to
It's
get?
not only the newer GPUs. I can take out the 180, which is a 6-year-old graphics card, right? And I can put it on eBay and I can sell it for more than I paid for originally. I can sell it for $1,000 and it will sell.
Mm-hmm.
This is the reality right now. This is nuts. So it's not only the newer graphics card, it's everything.
Yeah, well, but okay. So Nick, you were talking about that your computer will not be able to play some of those newer.
It will be able to play them, but it will be at a very
right
cut back graphics.
So isn't that because the new games require higher GPU
Of course,
setup?
innovation.
Right. Yeah. So that's the question. Maybe I didn't ask it right. Why are they writing it this way, knowing that people are not going to be able to do it?
What are they going to do? Release a game that looks like it came out in 2010?
Well,
I mean, that's not a solution.
No.
Yeah, but that's what. No,
they can be more efficient.
And again, you can touch the set. I mean, you can play the games. Yeah. It's just they will look like garbage because you've got, in my case, an NVIDIA GTX 1070. It's an old video card. It's years and years old. So just wait and hope for the best at this point.
Gal, what video card is going to be in that Alienware?
3080.
Oh, you bastard. Mm. Oh, you want to adopt me? Do you want another kid?
And would they sell that card individually to customers, or they hoard
they
it?
They don't offer it as a separate card. No.
Yeah. Oh.
They put in. When I'll get it next week.
Yeah.
So I'll know more. But they say it's what they call Founder Edition. It's supposed to be like brand wise, it's supposed to be one of the best 3080s, right? Whether it'll be that or something else, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But Dell, they don't sell that separately. At least I don't think they've done it even before.
No.
Yeah, so they only sell it as part of the setup. Yeah. So
makes sense. Yeah.
Now, I was comparing others, right? I went and looked at MSI's offering, at Lenovo's offering. Most of them do not even offer 3080. Or if they do, they offer it in like very, very expensive setups with everything blown out of proportion. Like 64 gigabytes of memory or 128 gigabytes of memory. It's like the setup itself is going to be so expensive to start with. an i9 or a Ryzen 9, stuff that we don't necessarily need on a machine like that. And so those rigs, those start at 4,000, 4,500, right? They're way priced out of proportion. And they do that because they have a very, very limited stock on that, right? And they just want to make the profit same as the scalpers. And so a lot of people who cannot wait for one reason or another. I'm not saying smarts is one of the reasons. They bite the bullet and they buy these rigs, or they buy from the scalpers, which is really painful, I must say. I'm looking at the price and those who buy it. Oh boy,
You kind of
it's
wonder
nerve
how.
wracking because even if you pay the price, you're not sure you're going to get a proper one.
Okay.
YouTube gamers, they talk nonstop about it right now, and especially if one of them, it's time for them to build a new rig and they do it publicly. It's ridiculous.
All right. So here's a question. I'm not I never was want to be on the bleeding edge. For quite a few years, the CPU has graphics capabilities.
It still does.
Right. Now, does Intel what would you compare the latest, like, what, 11th generation now? They are the Intel i9 or whatever.
Okay.
What
What's the question?
what could be compared, and do they do anything that some of the memory on board is being used in order to boost the GPU capability of the
So
CPU? Eh,
the GPU built in on the board or on the CPU, right? That's just so you could run a graphic interface like Windows or something
okay,
like
so
that.
it's not a powerful.
You can browse. Um, it'll have some video decoding capabilities, but that's about it. It's You'll be able to play games that do not require any fancy 3D calculation, but that's about it.
So they never really try to
No,
do
they're not
something.
competing in that
Okay.
marketplace at
Yeah.
all, at all. No, they're supposed to just provide a desktop experience that is more than adequate, right? So, but and most people, that's all they need.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
need
yeah.
a GPU. You need a dedicated GPU uh, when you're playing games because of the 3D calculation and building the scene, the 3D scene, and you need them for mathematical calculations, very complex ones, right? So either you're doing some real mathematical work, or another one would be video encoding, because the high end ones, they come with video encoders which substantially increase the speed of rendering video.
And this all started because of crypto mining.
It started
Some of
there, then
yeah.
it got a huge kick in the nuts by COVID,
Mhm.
and together, right, we got this huge mess. So I think Nick has the timeline a lot better figured out. But if I recall correctly, when COVID hit, like just started, then the entire supply chain, right, was disrupted because like future purchases from the manufacturing companies, they just dropped
Mhm.
instantly, basically killing almost killing an entire industry. Because when you do that, right, when when a factory needs to build a set of graphics cards, for example, right, it needs a lot of materials, a lot of different material types. And if those material types, they've already been ordered, but you don't get orders for that, right? Then a factory get bankrupt really, really fast. So everything got disrupted. Everything got disrupted.
Well, and an important part of that is understanding how manufacturing works. And like, for example, when a chip manufacturing company is building the new set of GPUs, they tool their facility to build those graphics cards. You know, they that's what's called. It's called retooling. So they move around the workflow, and they build the factory or rearrange the factory in a way in which they are being able to pump out the graphics chips that NVIDIA, has purchased from them. As Gall said, then when you have a supply shortage, now you've got a factory that's tooled to produce a GPU, the chip, not the physical, not the whole card, but the GPU chip itself. They can't do that. So now what do you do? So it's been multifaceted issues: supply shortage, then COVID, and frankly a lot of demand, because PC gaming is really on a real
on fire
rocket ship. Yeah, it's the most recent consoles are out. They're not as revolutionary as ones in the past. The PC market has become exponentially more cheaper and more obtainable than ever. Like Gall mentioned, you can go to Alienware and just buy a computer. You don't need to know anything about building a computer really at all. You can go and buy it. So it's become more and more available to everybody, and all of those things, into all of those things just create the worst possible situation that we're in right now. And it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
Because again, I'd be willing to shell out, and I'm sure God would be in the same thing. We'd be willing to shell out $600 for the video card if we could find it. I don't want to spend $600 on a video card, but I'd be more than willing to and happy to. But
it's not there.
It's not there. It literally doesn't exist. So, good times.
Yeah.
So we wait.
This too shall pass. Who knows how long, but it will.
But I don't know. Maybe
sooner or later. Sooner or later, it will.
But the problem is, as this goes longer and longer, people's hardware gets older and older, meaning you've got now more, as the days go by, you've now got more and more people that are in demand because their equipment is getting older by the day. So yes, it will eventually pass, but I don't. And then of course, Christmas is, the holiday buying season is what, 2.5, 3 months around the corner. That
one
introduces I'm saying that introduces its own set of issues as well. So you're looking at spring or to summer of next year, probably, before people can get their hands on these cards. And at that point, my video card will be way out of date. So it's frustrating, to say the least.
And Brent is saying, have you tried Digital Storm PCs? I've never heard.
It's another pre-builder. They're relatively popular. There's a lot of these. CyberPower is one of them. Digital Storm, Origin, I Buy Power, Alienware. There's lots of these pre-built manufacturers. Linus Tech Tips did a really good video back a couple of years ago where they bought half a dozen or so pre-builts from some of these companies and went through and talked about the best deal, the best things like that. So if you're interested in the pre-built, I'd recommend that video. And I don't remember what the conclusion was, but it was a good one. So something to check out.
Kind of doom and gloom.
No, it's not doom and gloom. It's just
for gamers.
It's not doom and gloom. It's just frustration more than anything else. Because the market is there.
Yeah, it's basically all of the apocalyptic movies. They got everything wrong. It's about shortage in toilet paper. It's about hand sanitizer, and it's about merchandise. Factory.
Uh, it's gonna snow. It's about bread and milk.
Yeah.
All
Gotta get
right.
the bread and
So
milk.
what?
So you got to get the bread and milk.
Yeah, you got.
There's no question.
So listen to this now. I mean, we always have. I mean, what's the latest thing in TV technology?
Rick and Morty.
LG.
ATSC 3.0 is the
ATSC.
new thing.
Here's LG plans to introduce its first consumer mini LED TVs sometimes next month. Mini LED is a new variant of LCD TV technology that offers better contrast ratios, among other improvements. The new lineup in the US includes one 4K TV dubbed the QNID 90 and one 8K variation called the QNID 99. Both of these are available in 3 sizes only: 65, 75, and 86. But it's mini LED. Samsung, I mean LG, Samsung, no, South Korea was always on the edge kind of TVs and technology. It's going to be interesting to see this. Mini LED. QNID 90. Boy, 86 inches to buy a new house. It's just not going to fit anywhere. Oh, outside, hanging on a tree a mile away. So interesting. And we were talking a lot about right to repair here in the States and how the manufacturers are fighting it. A British right to repair law came into force last week, requiring manufacturers to make spares available to both consumers and third-party repair companies. However, despite claiming to cover television and other electronic displays, the law somehow excludes smartphones and laptops. And I ask myself, why are they excluding? I mean, are the lawmakers over there know something about? Is it different to fix a smartphone versus a wireless phone, calculator, and then laptops? I mean, come on. But it's interesting that it passed. I wonder if something like this will pass here. And then, okay, now we want also laptops. There's a new fight. Let's go for laptops. But the law already exists. It's easier to get additions. I mean, over here, I guess it has to be under warranty to take it to like Best Buy and have it repaired. But you get on eBay and on Amazon, on the internet in general, and you find parts for laptop. And if you can't find those parts that you need for the laptop, it really, in my opinion, it means, hey, get a new one. You don't want to go and replace a motherboard and memory and all that on a laptop. It's going to cost you just as much as it will be to get a new, updated laptop.
In most cases, replacing the motherboard on a laptop is practically impossible.
That's correct.
They're not standard motherboards. So
right.
Memory you can get away with. Normally that's Well, it used to be. It's now not anymore, but that used to be a relatively easy upgrade. But motherboard now, you're pretty much SOL.
Right. It's the cost of the motherboard and the labor to do it. It's just
Oh
not
yeah,
worth it.
correct.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say not worth it. It all really depends on the age and on what's gone wrong. But right to repair isn't about replacing the motherboard.
I
It's
understand.
about being able to replace chips on the
Yeah.
motherboard. It's about making things more accessible and less of a lock in. And I, the funny thing here is, on the one hand, there is this lawmaking effort, right?
Mhm.
Um, this populist talk about right to repair, uh, but the consumer doesn't really care, and that's the weird thing. I mean, yes, I would really see right to repair being passed, but I also know that the votes they're not really there. Um, Most people don't care, and the manufacturers are those with the money and those with the power to talk with the politicians.
Right.
And so it's a fight that I don't see coming to fruition anytime soon.
Like I said, they're saying that it's already passed there in the UK, but not for everything.
Yeah,
So it's a
and
beginning. Uh,
every manufacturer will find the loophole around that.
Absolutely.
They'll provide
Absolutely.
the replacement parts, but they'll cost like 4 times more or something like that.
Right. And nobody
It'll
can
exist. It's more,
and no
yeah,
and nobody can stop them from selling it for 4 times more.
probably, yeah. They'll
Legal.
say it's a supply and demand thing,
Yep.
and they'll bring the numbers and they'll show. And the reality will be is that, let's put it this way: there won't it won't create a new workforce of repair places,
No.
right? So I'm the end goal is, while yes, it's important and it needs to be part of the design, the end goal here isn't to create new laws. It's to um, to convince the consumer that it's important, and if that doesn't provide the option, don't buy it. As simple as that.
Yeah. That's a good
The voting needs to be with your dollars, with your
Mhm.
wallets, not with politics, not in this case, because only the dollar will decide here. It doesn't matter what laws will be passed. Only the dollar will decide here. Because a right to repair eventually, right, a law like that might even cause prices to rise, because they'll say, "Hey, this is a right to repair place that I'm selling. This is this location, right? The U.S. or a specific state. If I need to sell here, I need to raise the prices because I need to cover my uh, complying with right to repair. It's just another set of uh, committees and inspectors and stuff that you need to fuel,
red tape.
right? Instead of creating a simpler design, an easier to repair design.
Mhm.
Might not be simpler, by the way. Yeah, but so the voting needs to be with the wallets, not with laws. Not in this particular case, anyway.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens here. Um, we were talking about Microsoft. I mean, yeah, Windows 11. It's still
Yeah.
gonna have a BSOD,
Well,
but it's not gonna stand for blue screen of death. They changed it to black.
That sounds pretty racist to
I
me.
mean, black screen of death. Yeah,
Wow.
it does. I didn't think about that. That's good.
yeah.
In this
What?
era,
Doesn't really matter.
in this era of language, that's a ballsy move by Microsoft.
Yeah. But it's amazing that they would put an effort to do something like this. But why?
Yeah, but
What's
why?
wrong with Blue Screen?
Yeah, I mean that's the blue screen death's been the blue screen
Yeah.
death for the better part of what 30 years.
Probably,
Still
yeah.
doesn't matter. When the system gets to that point, you're screwed.
You see red
Yeah,
anyway.
That's a good point. Yeah.
They
Very good
needed to
point.
be the screwed screen of death.
All
I
right.
mean, Apple has the it's like a sad smiley face, right? A
Yep.
sad.
You mean
emoji,
Apple
something
has
that.
like
They had a blue screen of death of their own. It
Really?
just wasn't blue. It just had an icon of something went wrong and you can't move
Interesting.
the computer from day one. It's not like it's new.
Mm-hmm.
It was a
It's
sad
just
Mac
blue-
face.
Yeah,
Frowny
sad
Mac
face,
face.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
He was upset. He goes, "Oh." His head's turned sideways, I think.
This is the part when you're comparing Macs and PCs and stuff, right? And when you're doing that that for and against, they are exactly the same. Exactly the same. The real difference is some philosophy behind the company of what should be open and what not, and it's just about that.
Correct.
And the consumers, they never talk about that. They just love their side. They're both crap.
all right. Facebook is in the news again. Some Facebook users in the United States are being served a prompt that asks if they are worried that someone they know might be becoming an extremist.
Jesus Christ. Fucking kidding me?
Others are being notified that they may have been exposed to extremist content. It is all part of a test the social media company is running that stems from its Redirect initiative, which aims to combat violence extremism. Screenshots of the alert surfaced on social media Thursday. This test is part of our larger work to assess ways to provide resources and support to people on Facebook who may have engaged with or were exposed to extremist content or may know someone who is at risk. So now it's everybody's telling about everybody. We are partnering with NGOs and academic experts in this space and hope to have more to share in the future.
Wow.
I mean, there's partnering with academic experts. I mean, that's extremism, extremists right there.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was a professor down here last week that put on Facebook, quote, blow up Republicans. So hopefully they partner with him. He's definitely not extremist at all. Definitely not. You got to be shitting me. That's unbelievable.
One of the alerts, a screen grab of which made the rounds on social media Thursday, asks users, "Are you concerned that someone you know is becoming an extremist? We care about preventing extremism on Facebook," explained the alert. According to a screen grab posted on social media, others in your situation have received confidential support.
Well, I'm looking at the screenshot.
Yeah.
And it's not like report here.
Right.
It's get support. It's not as if, right, they are asking you who or what. The whole idea is to direct people to content, right, about what is extremism. So
Yeah, but
it is a social experiment. Hey, they are tracking the clicks, don't get me wrong, right? But most of the clicks will come from just people curious of what's this about. So it's definitely not going to be of, hey, we're going to have a lot of new data about more people and extremism. But I think what the experiment they're going through is to try and expose people to content about identifying extremism.
And where is that content going to be?
But of course, the biggest issue there is, what does Facebook define as extremist?
Right.
Oh
content?
yeah, that's bullshit.
that's-
I mean, that's
No, but that's
I'm-
the
I
concern.
didn't say it's
No, I know,
completely.
but that's the concern, is when you know what party is
Until we
determining
see
what
the
is
content,
extreme.
I don't know. And
Yeah,
I
that's the
don't see
problem.
myself going to Facebook anytime soon. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's always the concern, is who is the definer of extremism.
Right.
If you put a Republican in charge of defining extremism, it's going to be left wing. If you put a left wing in charge of defining extremism, it's right wing. Right? There's no middle ground. I
don't think it has to do with left and right. I think if you put an asshole in charge of it, you get bad stuff. So that's the thing.
The thing is, if they, the way that I look at it, if they direct you to a page, a site, or whatever, to explain to you what it is, and somebody, whoever is in charge of that section, is from the left, you may see, if somebody called you black and treated you bad, that's extreme behavior. But you'll never see anything about if somebody called you.
We're speculating about content we haven't seen.
I understand.
But using Facebook's track record, I don't think this is a too far of a stretch.
What I'm worried about, that you won't see there, if somebody calls you white and white privileged and treat you bad, you won't see that type of a thing. So it's all going to be skewed. That's what I
don't think
Nick
they'll do either.
I hope not. I hope not.
No, come on. We've seen content that these large companies produce. It's never that. It's more about, if you see people who choose violence as a solution, if you see people, right, it's always about actions, about specifics, specific patterns of behavior, not specific words that are being used, and it's usually about that. Now, whether it's going to be effective, I do not believe so. Whether it's going to be, I don't even know if it's going to be interesting, like the results of it, right? And so that's why I'm laughing when I'm hearing something about this. Right?
Yeah, it is. It's actually it's like a comedy. I mean, come on, you guys. Stick to what you know. Do social media and forget about this. Leave this to the professionals.
There is no do social media, Amnon. Let's be real clear here, right? Nobody can just do social media. When we just do social media, we get the fiasco that we got in the past 15 years.
You're right. It's okay. Yeah, right? You're right.
And they are the largest platform.
Yeah.
So if they are trying something new, I applaud them. Whether I think they'll be successful with this specific action, I don't think so. Right?
It's interesting to find out what drives them to even come up with stuff like this. They're trying to tell the world, oh, we are very much against extremists, when they are not. But they're saying it like this, and they say, oh, yeah, there must be. Some people will get swayed. Some people will believe it. Some people will follow it. I don't think anybody in their right mind needs to be told what being an extremist is. I mean, you see it, you know it is. Those that are extremists are not going to listen to somebody telling them, oh, you are an extremist. No, I'm not. Next.
Yeah, but maybe people are swayed by some of the extremist thoughts, right? The thought leaders, those who are, social media calls them influencers, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes some sweet words can pull you in, but then you get deeper and deeper. I do get where the need comes from. I don't get how this process of sort of it's a bit like re-education, right? The concept of
Oh,
re-education.
yeah.
Yeah,
They're
and
trying.
that's yeah, and I don't think that's you need to educate correctly from the beginning, right? If you're trying to course correct this late, um,
You're in trouble.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that'll work. That's the thing,
Oh.
right?
All right. Here's something more that everybody needs to know, and those that don't know this, because I see it a lot. Primary care company One Medical has apologized after it sent out an email that exposed hundreds of customers' email addresses. The email sent out by One Medical on Wednesday asked to verify your email. But the email seen by TechCrunch had more than 980 email addresses copied on the email. The cause is One Medical
BCC.
did not use the blind carbon copy, the BCC field, to mass email to customers, which would have hidden their email addresses from each other. Several customers took to Twitter to explain, but also express sympathy for what was quickly chalked up to an obvious mistake. Some users reported varying numbers of email addresses on the email that they received. I don't know how that. But I see it a lot. That I get an email from somebody that, and you're supposed to send it to other people. And it's all in the two. And as a matter of fact, mail servers have a limit of how many addresses you can put in the to field. Some raise it, some lower it. There's a reason to it. And there's no reason for everybody to know everybody else's email. If you're sending an email to a bunch of people, put it in the BCC. Now, the BCC is not right there in front of you. You have to know how to do it. It's not rocket science, but you need to click on something that will open the BCC, the blind carbon copy. If you send an email to your family and there are 20 people on it, chances are everybody knows each other's email address, and you actually would help those that don't by including it in the two. But when you send out hundreds, there's absolutely no reason to put it in the to field. You have to put it in the BCC. So yeah, that is a problem here. And once it's out there, it's out there. There is no turning around. If you included my email address in the to as one of the recipients of this email, that email is out on the internet and everybody's going to know my email address, not just me, but spammers look for this type of emails here and there on sites that give you web access. And this is for them, this is a gold mine, because if you send it to so many people, you know these people. And these are good live emails. So when you're worried that you're getting spam, or you see that suddenly people telling you sent me a bunch of spam, it's not because you did, or because, not necessarily, that your system is infected. One of the spammers could have seen that email, got the list, and just happened to use your email as the from, which you can do. And it can hurt people. There's no doubt. People are in this day and age are trying to stay kind of under the radar in many cases. I mean, our privacy is being explored and used left and right. So we don't need to go and put it out there. So remember, you sending email to a bunch of people, put it in the BCC. Last week we talked about WD My Book live NAS drives that are getting wiped. It seems they were attacked by a combination of two exploits, and it's continuing, and possibly caught in the fallout of a rivalry between two different teams of hackers. Initially, after the news broke last Friday, it was thought a non-known exploit from 2018 was to blame, allowing attackers to gain root access to the device. However, it now seems that a previously unknown exploit was also triggered, allowing hackers to remotely perform a factory reset without a password and to install a malicious binary file on the drive. This is a statement from Western Digital that updated today reads, My Book Live and My Book Live Duo devices are under attack by exploitation of multiple vulnerabilities present in the device. That's what WD told. Analysis of WD's firmware suggests code meant to prevent the issue had been commented out, preventing it from running. And an authentication type was not added to component config.php, which results in the drive not asking for authentication before performing the factory reset. That's gross negligence. Western Digital advises users to disconnect their devices from the internet. They're offering data recovery services beginning in July and a trade-in program to switch the obsolete MyBook Live drives for more modern MyCloud devices. I wonder how much it's going to cost. I wonder if there's any way, there should be a way that they can patch the software in the NAS. Because that software is not on the drive itself. Drives don't have that. It's in the box that the drive is mounted in, which makes it a network access device. And they should be able to somehow patch it. Or maybe allowing you to send it in and they'll send you a new one with good code. But that's really gross negligence. Why would anybody comment out the code that would have prevented this? It had to have been just, okay, we're just developing it here and and this is becoming a problem. So let's see if let's comment it out while we work on it. But then reverse it. You're putting it in production and it's still commented. Somebody's going to have some heads have to roll. What is it, Gal? Why are you so?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, I agree.
Oh.
Disconnect your device from the internet is no solution at this point. So, like a death threat.
well, if
So,
you didn't, you bought it for that purpose.
Yeah.
It's I don't know.
ridiculous. That's what it is.
It's ridiculous that something like this can happen, that somebody would be doing something like that. And if you lost files and you try to format and try to fix it and all that, and now they're going to offer data recovery, you may have destroyed the ability to recover. They should have said that to begin with. Anyway, let's talk a minute about cord cutting and costs for people that go different routes. Last week, YouTube TV announced a 4K plus add-on package with offline downloads, 5.1 Dolby audio, and features that make it easier to watch live sports. Now, YouTube TV is already one of the pricier streaming services out there. $64.99, $65 a month.
Good Lord. That's how much my internet is.
You might,
Seriously.
I understand. It says you might not save much money by choosing YouTube in lieu of your cable service. Hulu Plus Live TV is priced the same, but offers a Disney Plus and ESPN Plus add-on for a total of $72.99 per month. But if you want to kick your video quality and your monthly bill up a notch, you can now enable 4K streaming for an extra $19.99.
Good Lord.
Bringing your grand total for YouTube TV to $84.98, $85 monthly.
Well, what this really proves, I think something that Gauss talked about before, the issue is not the cable companies. The
Right.
issue is the content providers.
Yeah.
Because nobody, Sling, Hulu, nobody can do it cheaply. Why? Because they're all pulling from the same pool of content providers that are charging an exorbitant amount for their service, obviously. And that's why it doesn't matter who the provider is. It doesn't matter if it's Spectrum or YouTube. It's the same price. In this case, Spectrum's a whole hell of a lot cheaper. If you bundle your internet with cable, you'd be way better off having that than you, unless you are somebody that, well, no, not even that. Because if you're on the go, all the major cable providers now offer apps where you can stream your stuff. So
not only that, they are the only ones through which, let's say you purchase ESPN, right? Plus, you are only capable of using ESPN content, reaching ESPN content via some sort of cable provider login. So if you choose to cut the cord and go with Sling, for example, right? And you decide to purchase something that isn't in your Sling package, you don't have access to it. So you can't, there's no a la carte. There's no, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cutting the cord, part of cutting the cord is having reasonably priced a la carte choices. That doesn't exist. A la carte and reasonably priced doesn't exist. You might be able to get some content, then it's really, really, really expensive, right? If you get, but you usually get it bundled with stuff you don't need. And cutting the cord is cutting the cord from these packages, right? It's cutting the cord from, as you mentioned, the content providers who they make the rules. It's not about technology. It's not about the, accessing
illegal
exercising
stuff.
Exercising the demons of cable to your home. It's not about that, right? So it's again, cutting the cord has become a marketing phrase used by IP video providers, right? Those who are providing internet content via internet and not via physical cables, right? It's ridiculous at this point. And yes, the only true cord cutting, unfortunately, right now is over the air recording, right? Creating your own DVR over the air with over the air broadcasting, or piracy. That's the only true cord cutting that exists. And every other cord cutting phrase, it's just marketing. Just marketing. Just another lie about, about just another way to reframe reality into this. So definitely not what those who want cord cutting, definitely not any of that.
The craziest part I think about it, though, Gal, is I think all of these providers, Hulu, YouTube, Sling, they all set out to be this cord cutting thing. But I think as they've gotten into the business and into the industry, they've realized that there isn't. That there truly is, as you mentioned, the only true way to quote unquote cut the cord is to steal the content. I don't think YouTube TV set out to be an $85 or $89 system. But as they got into it, they realized, well, damn, we're getting charged so
money,
much by these providers. We have to. This is the only way that we can offer the content. And I'm sure they're not making a lot of money on YouTube TV. I'm sure their fees are exorbitant for what they're paying. They're making something, of course, but I don't think that they're charging you $89. I don't think it's costing them $20 for the content. I would imagine their margin is relatively small, harping back to that point that whether it's Spectrum, DirecTV, YouTube, Sling, or Hulu, the content providers have that all of those companies by the balls. And that's why you've seen Netflix take the approach, while they don't do live TV, they've just decided, screw it, we'll just make our own damn content. Then the content providers can go suck it, because we're just going to make our own content and the people are going to love it. And that's what they've done. Right. And it's been very effective.
Yeah. And you look at the other players, right, that are following suit. It's Disney with their own content, and they have shit ton of content, right? And you look at HBO Max, which is Warner Brothers,
even Apple,
and then and that's the thing. That's why I'm saying there is no a la carte and reasonably priced, because even in that situation, right, they're starting to go with all of these exclusives, and so you're hooked up again. This is the Matrix all over again, right? Where these bodies in pods hooked up with all sort of plugs. It's just, oh, give me the plug from Netflix, give me the plug from Hulu, give me the plug from. It's ridiculous. But we can't. One thing that this whole process has proven is we can't really disconnect from these companies if we still want their content, right? We won't be able to get it. And not only that, is they're probably starting to pull off content, or at least, newer content from over-the-air broadcasts and stuff like that as well. So where this is not going anywhere. People are going to either pay or even pay more, because there is new infrastructure going into this. You mentioned YouTube TV, right? YouTube TV isn't just them deciding to put in a small box somewhere and you just getting the content that you would over the air. They need to put infrastructure, content distribution servers, complete networks to make it effective, to make people. I mean, IP.
It sounds
IP
simple, but it's not.
Right. IP isn't a broadcasting mechanism, right? And the way it works, it's not even via UDP and these streaming protocols. This is when a consumer, right? When you have more consumers, you need much more bandwidth, because you're not broadcasting a single package and a lot of endpoints receive it. Everybody receives their own copy. Infrastructure here is needed, and there's a lot of investment into that. So those prices, they make complete sense that they are higher. It has nothing to do with where you're getting the content.
Yeah, it was Maybe people thought in the beginning, oh yeah, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
But then as you get into it as a provider, you realize, oh, I need to do this. Oh, we also have to do this. And well, sooner or later you realize, oh boy,
Yep.
that's not going to be, yeah. Still, I mean, over the air, unless you're into sports, over the air and many people have Amazon Prime and you have their video service. If you're really want, get Netflix, you don't pay as much as you would for a TV, like for Spectrum TV or like something like that. And it's cheaper, but as you go on and you say I want more and I want more, you're going to pay more altogether.
A lot more.
A lot more.
I think
Yeah.
if I were to purchase TV today, TV service, I would Spectrum, your internet provider likely has the best deal.
I don't know that anybody else has any anymore.
They do. I'm
AT&T
saying compared to all of the streaming services, I would make the argument that if you were
streaming
going to
service.
purchase TV service today,
Yeah.
for most people, unless you have a really small, like municipal TV company, your AT&T, Spectrum, Comcast, if you already have their internet, is probably the best bang for your buck deal.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because we went from their deals are awful, they suck, to it's now the best price, best. I mean, I'm just looking at mine right now with my current service at Spectrum. I could get TV Select through Spectrum bundled with my internet for $45 a month. I believe that's cheaper. That is cheaper than any other service that will give me access to 125 channels. And that includes ESPN, which is the big one because ESPN is the single most expensive cable channel for any provider to purchase. They pay dollars per subscriber. Dollars per subscriber for ESPN. Every cable company does. So I don't see. I don't know how much longer these services like Sling will be around because they're pricing themselves out of the market, and it's not their fault. It's just the reality of it. Yeah. Spectrum can afford to give you cheaper TV because they offer you other services, right? They offer you home phone, they offer internet, they can subsidize it for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. Sling, well, how can they subsidize it? It's the only product and or service they sell. Spectrum can afford, at least in this case with me, to offer me a cheaper price on cable TV because they're charging me $65 a month for internet. They can afford to subsidize the package. But Sling can't, Hulu can't. They don't offer anything else. What are they going to subsidize me with? So I don't see Sling hanging around a whole lot longer. It just I don't know why anybody would subscribe to it. I think it's same thing with YouTube. YouTube TV is a terrible deal. $70 a month.
It's not a deal.
30, 45 channels. I mean, that's just a terrible deal. Crazy.
What? Gal, you were going to say something?
No, I'm with Nick on this.
Oh,
completely.
I remember, and I don't know if that's still the case, but I remember Donna stopped it and went with the Spectrum streaming service, which is much cheaper. But you can't, it's like there's no DVR, you can't pause, something like this. And when somebody got used to it, and I'm wondering if YouTube TV is the same thing.
No, YouTube is completely DVR'd.
Cloud DVR, a whole thing.
You don't even need to. Yeah, you don't need to even. You can, but you don't even need to program it in advance. You have a back catalog of everything, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
look, there are being an Israeli living in the States, right? There's content from Israel that we want to consume, and some of my friends are using. We don't use it because we're not interested in live TV from Israel. But some of my friends, they've subscribed to. There's several. There's one or two, not a lot, right? Where we are a small market, but there are several providers, and I'm pretty sure they're completely pirated, of Israeli content, where you get access to Israeli channels, but you also get access to more channels than those. You can actually get other live TV channels like ESPN and stuff like that, and a complete 2 weeks backlog of DVR automatically created. And so you don't need to see even live TV live. You can get, a day or two later, and you can still see the shows from the past 2 weeks. And they cost around, I don't know, $10 a month.
100% illegal. Yeah, no question about it.
50,
you have to. They sell
20,
you a
you know what?
patch.
Yeah, it's patch. Like, I don't know because I don't purchase them, but it's like you use these, and then you say, why can't the big guys give me something like that, right? Why do I need to get it from a pirated source? Why isn't it possible, right, for the big players to do the same? And even if the big players will charge twice that, right, it'll still be a steal.
Yeah.
So what's going on? What's wrong with the system, right? And I think eventually, right, reality will kick in where it'll be something like those pirated systems, but it's going to take a long time until we get there. It's just me hoping. I've seen piracy dictate shape the world of internet content, right? I mean, the reason we have streaming services like Spotify and YouTube Music and stuff like that is because of services like Napster, right? So they definitely paved the road forward. It's like most of technology has been driven by porn, right? Porn are the early adapters of everything, and then it becomes available. I've noticed it only recently, seeing my son watching YouTube, some YouTube live channel, and noticing that the YouTube live channel has an option of tipping the speaker, tipping whoever's live. That came from porn. I've seen porn site do that for the past 10 years. So it's
I've done extensive research on this topic. Yeah, I mean that is absolutely no, absolutely. Yeah, this whole idea. Well, I mean, it goes back earlier than that. It go back to strip clubs, right? I mean, it goes all the way back to that industry. I mean, look at how long have strip clubs and whatnot been a thing? 100 years, or go back to the Wild West, and you were throwing money at girls in saloons. I mean, yeah. So you're absolutely correct. And now and then it started with Twitch, and now it's YouTube, and now that's why you go on Twitch and you can watch half naked girls in hot tubs, and it's totally normal.
Yeah, but the thing is not about the content of the half naked girls. It has shifted into what's called the normal content, the acceptable content, right? The mainstream content. It now works exactly the same as what porn content was before. And so they are the early adapters, same as piracy is the early adapters of whatever is possible with this technology. And yes, they are stealing. Yes, they are doing, what's morally unacceptable, but they are also introducing the use cases that are then adopted by mainstream media.
I'm watching a girl on Twitch right now. I just went to the front page of Twitch and clicked browse. She's got 3,000 people watching. She's doing yoga in the tightest pants that I think I've ever seen.
Oh.
And as Gal was mentioning, there are people throwing her Twitch. They called them bits. You convert dollars into bits. She's just showing her ass on the internet.
Well, looks like Twitch knows you a lot better because I went there and I don't see that.
If you go to browse and just chatting, that's the most popular category. There's 300,009 people watching it. You will see it.
Alan is saying Sling free is not bad, and you can aggregate lowcast into it. The other part,
Hell, Sling free.
yeah.
Oh, Sling free is similar to what Plex is offering, where it's this kind of like weird OTT content.
Well, okay. But
like, for example, like CBS News 24/7 that they offer for free online, ABC News, they've all got these like 24-hour streaming networks. It's that kind of stuff. But if you already use Plex, or even if you have
you can do it with
Roku
Plex as well. You don't need.
You don't even need Plex. But if you've got for any sort of smart TV like Vizio, it's called Watch Free, I think is what Vizio's is called. And it's the same thing. It's an OTT streaming platform. So you're correct. Roku's got it built into their thing. It's called Roku TV. Most smart TVs, Samsung, LG, Vizio, whatever, they've got it built in. If you use Plex, it's built in. It's all aggregates of the same channels rather. It's just how they display them. So, yeah, that's we haven't even talked about that. I mean, that the free
but the
streaming TV services that are the actual free services are great.
Yeah, those by the way are real cord cutters, because these are ad sponsored content, right? It's basically over the air, just from everywhere in the world.
Yeah,
and
it's
and
not
these are
traditional
definitely
cable
cord
channels,
cutters.
is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Because the one thing that we talked about, but we didn't mention today, to cord cut. Cord cutting is not for mom and pop. It can be, but if you want to do things, you need more. You need to know. You need to be a little techie, or you need to know
I don't
somebody
think you
who's.
do, though.
What?
It requires a new set of skills. It's
Yeah.
not complex
Okay.
skills in any way, but it requires a new set of skills. It's not using the old skills you used to use
Right.
for watching.
You don't turn
which were simple
on.
as well.
You don't turn. You don't take the remote and turn the TV on and flip to channels. It's a little bit more than that.
I would make the argument with Roku's most recent offering with their TV service. I would say you're incorrect. With an antenna, antenna connected to your TV.
Now,
with an antenna connected to your TV and a Roku, I would make the argument that that is cord cut.
Okay,
and that requires zero technical know-how.
No, you're wrong, because you see, you need to think outside the box.
You get a menu when you switch on the TV.
Correct.
Right? It's a new set of skills. Before that, right, introducing people to the EPG and guide and flipping through channels, right, when they got a cable box, that changed their set of skills. They learned how to use DVRs, etc. There's a new set of skills here, and it is finding the source for your content that is not necessarily the default one for your TV, right? And that's the new set of skills for cord cutters. But everybody on the marketing bandwagon of cord cutting, right, basically sells you stuff repackaged from your old content in a way that you can get access to it, right? But it's not free. And that's why I'm saying it's just a marketing bandwagon of cord cutting.
Yeah, and I mean, Nick, to go between Roku and your Air, the antenna, you need to switch between sources. You need to change between something. This is something that a lot of people are not aware of, or they don't know.
I would agree. I would say, I think you are completely incorrect on that. I think the older generation is way more familiar with switching between sources and things, because for a long, I would make the argument that my generation is worse with that than your generation, because when as you were growing up and, living your life, Amnon, it originally started with turning the knob.
Yeah.
Then you would get some sort of weird cable box thing. Then you had a VCR, a Betamax player. You had all that. Was way more common than it is for my generation. I would make the complete opposite argument.
I can only judge from myself and what other people that.
But you've also had cable for 30 plus years. It's a little bit different.
Exactly. And I did not know how to find my way around it. I mean, it was hard. If I didn't have you or a gal there to say, "Oh, yeah, do this." Oh,
but again,
okay.
You went with a complex setup. Yeah, you went with an abnormal setup.
Again, I'm not saying it's rocket science, and I'm not saying that it's something that is impossible to do, but it's not just turn on the TV and you're already watching what you want to watch, or you just
disagree.
53
I
and
completely
bam.
disagree.
Well, okay.
For example, if you want to do all of your stuff in Roku, which is or some sort of Amazon Cube thing or whatever, I don't think it is as simple as turn on your TV. And then you've got your list of all of your apps and you select that and then you go through it.
The difference is
there's one extra step. You have a splash screen instead of turning it on and going to a channel.
So that extra step, it's not exactly that. The complete setup, the initial setup, that is what you need someone to guide you through, especially if you're not used to it, right? Because first of all, every system has its different setup, right? You'll want different applications, you'll want different channels, you'll want all of that. And so on Roku, for example, even if Roku TV is there, it's not the first choice, because Netflix and Hulu and whoever, they paid premium to be top in the defaults. And if whatever you want to set up, right, you're going to go through this setup process. That setup process, that is what a lot of people, they have a sort of fear out of it, especially the older generation who doesn't want to deal with another change they need to learn. Now, as the younger generation, it's not that they don't know, it's they don't care about TV at all. They consume their content completely differently than the older generation that came from watching TV as kids, right? So you have this these two, and you can see it by the advertising. By the way, if you look at the channels and you'll see what they're advertising, the audience they're advertising to is older generation, like 50 plus. They're not advertising for kids. They're not advertising for teenagers. So just look at the content of the advertisement and you'll see. It's either food, which is universal, right? And then it's prescription drugs, and it's automobiles and dishwashers, right?
Don't forget the dick pills.
No, those don't go there. Those are the other channels.
Yeah.
The one we talked about. The other.
I've seen plenty of those ads on network television. Not even network television, over-the-air television. That stuff's all over. But it also goes back to the content, because if you look at these things like Roku TV and Plex TV and even Sling TV Free, a lot of the content is older content, and you say, well, why? Well, because that's the stuff that these channels can get for relatively cheap.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? That's why when you turn on your over-the-air TV, you've got Antenna TV and Grit and Circle and some of these channels. The content that they offer it's weird content, older content, because that's the stuff that they can license for, essentially no money and broadcast. They wouldn't be able to afford or even have the option to license modern shows, because they wouldn't be able to make the money out. Or they wouldn't be able to afford it. What kind of revenue does Antenna TV have?
Yeah.
So That's why when you look through the channel guide and it's like, oh, America's funniest top videos and home improvement and these shows, it's because that's the stuff that they can get. Seinfeld, things like that are significantly older. So
But they're good stuff.
it's good stuff, but as Gal said,
Yeah.
it's not for the modern generation.
Right.
It's and I spent my last Friday night drinking, watching Clint Eastwood movies with my cat. I mean, that's not the norm. I mean, who the hell's watching Hang 'em High? And my generation is not watching Hang 'em High.
No, but it's a good movie.
It is a good movie, but again, it's not. But
Yeah.
it's not my generation's.
Yeah, I understand
At
what
least
you're
it's
saying.
my cup of tea, but I'm very abnormal. As if you weren't already aware of that. How long have I been doing this show, Amnon? Since I was 15 years old? If
sounds like
you didn't already think I wasn't totally abnormal.
No. Freak. Weather freak, yeah.
How long has it been? It's probably close to 10 years.
Yeah, probably.
It's got to be getting there. Do we have an archive?
Yeah.
Are all of these shows on YouTube?
All these shows are on YouTube and
I'm gonna do some digging.
on NissanCommunications.com. But
Give me a couple minutes. I'm going to do some research and figure out my first show.
Two things about TV. I mean, one, I remember Gal Flex made a change this week, and the guide looks different. And I looked at it, and I didn't like it because it's like a bunch of space and not information. You have to scroll more. But you know what I found? And I got used to it by now. But Gal,
I was about to say that's a you problem.
Yeah, but you know what I found out?
It's going to change and you have zero control.
You know what I found out? And I don't know how to submit any kind of bug. But in the morning, the TV stays on antenna TV.
Okay.
Till about 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, I want going in. I'm going to change channels. So you go back, you click up, and you see the lineup of the stations, and you go to the station you want to go to at this point. And I'm going there and saying, that's wrong. That's not now. And I'm looking, and it did not advance to the time. It's still 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning showing you. Normally, you cannot go back. And now you cannot go back. But when it was idle on one station for hours and you want to change the station and you just go back to the lineup still shows 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So used to, you go to the lineup and it's at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. No, you have to go back out to live TV and DVR and come back into it. And now the time changes and it's current time. And it happens a few times that I did it because I figured, well, maybe I didn't do something. No, but it's happening every time when you sit on a station for a long time, for hours, like when nobody's watching, and then you try to go to another station, it's still showing you the column of the time when you went on that first station. And you say, what?
Are you sure it's a new bug? I think it's
It never was like
they
this.
had issues like that before.
Never had that issue before.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I'm talking about live TV and DVR. I'm not talking about anything else. So, yeah.
I found it.
Yeah.
I believe April of 2013 is when I first started doing the show. That would have made me 15 years old.
Dang.
So 8 years.
Yeah, I mean, look at the picture that we have there on the intro.
That picture's bad.
Yeah.
You should see this one I got right here. Holy moly. Look at this thing. Hold on.
Yeah, Nick was a little kid.
Yeah, which, as I explained to people, like when I was over at Amnon's the other week, oh, this is a guy I met on the internet when I was 14 years old. It's like, oh, so he's a pedophile. So like that's the
this was the thing that
look at this screenshot, Amnon. This is a blast from the
wow,
past.
look at that.
Look at that. Holy,
Look
Spence
at
got the
that.
newspaper going on. Spence has got the paper.
Yeah.
Amnon still looks just as young as he did. Bruce.
Yeah, and look at you. Little kid. Yeah. This is Vid Blaster, by the way.
4x3 video in 2013.
Yeah.
What a trendsetter.
But that's the thing that was appealing to add Nick to the show. I mean, here's a young kid, a real young kid, and he knew a lot. He could talk, but you were doing a show before that. But you
it's my job. 7 days a week, 5 days a week now. I'm the greatest bullshitter that's ever lived.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know why we were talking about that.
Oh. The other thing that I'm having, I mean, a pet peeve.
I've got a point too. Remind me.
Okay. I tell you, you go, because that may be more important. Go ahead.
It's not more important, but we're talking about cutting the TV and cord and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But and the reason this comes up is, but then you look at all of the alternative media that is available. You look at shows that exist on YouTube and podcasts, and we haven't even talked about that.
Right.
Stuff that is, God, would you describe that as cutting the cord? I mean, a show like this. So like that, with more and more of this stuff being available all the time
on demand.
On demand, online video content, on demand video content. It makes it even more of a reason not to screw around. I mean, God, how old's your son? 21?
Yep. Almost 20.
I'm sure his viewing.
TV is for old people. That's his world.
No, but I'm saying his and my viewing thing are probably pretty similar. Like, I mean, when I go to bed every night, I lay in bed and I put on a YouTube video
on your phone. On your phone,
for phone or my Roku in my bedroom, either or.
Yeah,
his time wasting content comes from TikTok. His watching is either Twitch or YouTube, right? That's him watching, and him spending time with his dad is watching some traditional TV, right? It's basically and the watching with his dad that happens twice a month. It's like it's not his content. I mean, he probably now that COVID reality is starting to dissipate a bit, right? I'm guessing he'll probably see more cinema than traditional TV.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
So it's that's
another part of this that makes these traditional cable companies and people, 24-hour content providers, which is anything on cable, they're providing content, they're feeding content 24 hours a day.
Right.
Makes
they need to feed a lot of crap in order to just fill the air.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. I mean, today, look, if you don't believe us, go look at your guide on your TV on July 4th and see all the bullshit that's on. I mean, it's nothing but filler. Nobody's working. I mean, you'll get, I'm sure TNT or whatever is running, Independence Day from 2001 in loop all day or something like that. But I don't know how can they compete with something like this? A completely free show that exists every single week that has got no strings attached, no barrier to entry in terms of watching. How can they compete with that?
You're watching a recording of a show.
Thank God we got that out of the
way. What did you say? Can you rewind?
You're watching a recording of the... Oh boy!
I remember when videotapes were the thing, right? one of the things that as kids we would muse about is what would happen when archaeologists from the future,
Mhm.
right, will find like some weird videotape somewhere. You do realize that even even if they find, I don't know, like a stash of hard drives from a YouTuber today,
Mhm.
right? It's like reality is going to be so messed up anyway.
But
Speaking of that,
I'll bet you that they will take good care of those hard drives. Put them in an environment that nothing would happen to 'em. Yeah. All right. The other pet peeve I was going to say is in watching TV. I love to watch Me TV at night, and they have Andy Griffith, and they have Gomer Pyle, and they have uh, Green Acres and Hogan Heroes and all that. And they advertise.
put yourself on screen.
Sorry. And they advertise throughout the day that okay, at 7 we have this, at 8 we have this.
Mhm.
Now, the company that runs Me TV here is WRAL or Capital Broadcast. And for the last 2-3 months, since COVID restrictions were lifted a little bit and they can have baseball games every evening on Channel 50, which is Me TV, they have baseball.
The Durham Bulls.
But I'm talking about here you are. I wonder how those contracts work.
Amnon, they own the Bulls.
So my point.
So they're going to
is
put it on their channel. They own it.
Yeah, but I understand that. But Me TV, they don't own Me TV.
Correct. But so they it's no different than radio. They just have to make up the commercial time.
So even though they advertise all day this, and this,
so
they don't give it to. I mean, I thought if I'm going to send an email to Me TV and say, look, you're advertising this, but it doesn't happen here.
No. So the way that it works, Me TV is there's a Me TV is a national service.
Right.
So meaning that WRAL or who runs Me TV in Raleigh, Capital Broadcasting, they are pulling down that show from a satellite all day. It's a national feed. They have their commercial avails and whatnot. They're not actually playing those shows.
Correct.
They're coming off of Me TV.
Correct.
So they're playing Me TV all day. And correct, at 7:00 on Me TV, there is in fact a show, but then they're preempting it with their own stuff.
Right.
So you would need to send an email to WRAL, and they don't frankly care.
Yeah, they won't care.
But you can watch Me TV online, I believe.
I don't know. I mean, I was trying to find another off the air Me TV, and I never got around to it. I'm just thinking about it. It's just, I mean,
because it's the same thing here. They own Capital Broadcasting owns Me TV here as well. It's WILM TV, and it's the same thing. For example, they play. They have the WRAL 6 p.m. news on Me TV down here.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, they have another channel that's called Dabble, DABL.
Correct. Yeah,
and
that's another one of those services.
Yeah, and again, I'm saying over there you have all kind of food shows and all these realtors. Now, again, I may be thinking about myself, but I say, why don't you play it over there?
Because they want people to watch the baseball game.
Well, put the baseball game on Dabble versus on
Dabble's not on cable.
Oh,
there's your issue.
Okay.
Dabble's not on cable. Me TV's on cable.
Okay.
The Me TV that is out of Raleigh that's on cable is being originated from WRAL in Raleigh.
I see.
No, it doesn't look like Me TV puts their content online.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But
the
you know,
site
you're,
has a button where to watch, and you need to pick the local aerial.
but yeah, the same thing down here because they have WRAL news. They also play The Big Bang Theory every night. That's not from MeTV.
Right.
They have a couple of other shows like that too that are not.
I was under the impression. I mean, you contracting with MeTV to play it here. You need to play the shows that we're playing.
Well, they do, but see, it's not about the shows; it's about the commercial time. So they make up the commercials that we're supposed to play. Same thing in radio.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're listening to a radio station, and there's for example, a talk station, and if we're going to preempt the talk show with sporting event, we have to make up the commercials that we would have played during that talk show. It's not about the content of the show; it's about the advertising.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that part of that is that they just play those commercials at a later date, or they have a contract with MeTV that says, "Hey, during a baseball season, we're going to preempt this many shows," and Capital Broadcasting's got enough leeway; they can probably tell MeTV to go shove it.
Right.
But yeah, that's how that works.
Anyway, that's the other pet peeve. And Alan is asking you, what is your market? What market is yours?
Who's he talking to?
You.
What market is mine?
He said, Nick, what market is yours?
Oh, what is my TV market? Wilmington. Wilmington, North Carolina is my market. The feeder, yes. The feed, yes. So MeTV is headquartered out of Chicago. But that's
yeah.
And I'm sure MeTV in Raleigh, the Durham Bulls is not the only thing that is not MeTV content that's on there.
I don't know.
I'm sure there's some other shows on that are not that.
Yeah, I need to scan and see because they're always duplicate. I need to find another.
I don't know if there's another MeTV. There's probably a MeTV out of Greensboro,
Greenville,
High Point. No, Greensboro probably. High Point. There is one the one in Greenville is on WITN channel 10. It's like channel 10.3.
Yeah, I can,
or 10.2 something.
I can try it.
But High Point, Winston-Salem, that market probably has a MeTV as well.
Yeah.
But you might have the same issue there. They might be preempting that show with something else. It all depends on the market. And the reason they don't preempt it on Fox 50 is because they've got Fox shows.
Right. Yeah, that's the network.
Fox shows. Right. So what are you going to do? You're going to preempt MeTV programming or Fox programming? It's no question. It's going to be your MeTV program.
Yeah.
Wonderful world of content origination, ladies and gentlemen.
And I wasn't aware that companies are limited to how many sub-channels they can have.
Well, there's multiple reasons for it. There's bandwidth reasons. There's a whole bunch. Well, I mean, you can have there's a channel there's a station out here that has 6 sub-channels. But you talked about all of those sub-channels outside of the .1 are standard definition because there's just not enough bandwidth in your spectrum you can't feed 6 HD feeds on a on a channel. There's just no the bandwidth doesn't exist.
The MeTV shows are all 4:3 anyway.
But it's HD. It's an HD. The commercial it's HD. It's not standard definition.
Okay. Oh, anyway. It's not the end of the world. There's antenna TV. So you switch over there and you laugh a little bit.
You know, the Bulls are good. You don't watch them?
But you see, the thing is, I'm not into baseball. I'm not watching it. So to me, that's what I was saying. To me, it's a personal thing.
I got you.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's that time. Anything else we want to add? Talk about? I don't see anything pressing in here. Or if you use QuickBooks, you're a business owner or in your business, Financial services giant Intuit this week informed 1.4 million small businesses using its QuickBooks Online Payroll and Intuit Online Payroll products that their payroll information will be shared with Big Three Consumer Credit Bureau Equifax starting later this year, unless customers opt out by the end of this month. This comes from Krebs on security. As you remember, Equifax is the one that screwed up.
I think they all screwed up at one point, no?
I don't know. I mean, I don't remember any of the other ones screwing up like Equifax.
Funds Union never screwed up?
No, they didn't have a breach like
right.
Equifax
Okay.
did.
We can talk about this next week. If you have an Apple, an old Apple, OS X Lion and OS X Mountain, or OS 10 Mountain Lion now can be downloaded free from Apple's website. So if you needed to put it on an older Apple, and it used to be $19.99, now it's free. And that's it.
That's all, folks.
All right.
That's some antenna TV for
you. That's me.
What?
TV. That's me TV at about
no
7.
Looney Tunes isn't on me TV.
Oh, it is on the morning every morning between 7 and 8, and on
Looney Tunes is.
Yeah, and on
Really?
Saturday
Okay.
from 7 until 11 or something like that.
I didn't realize that. Okay,
Yeah, it's different ones. It's Popeye. It's Looney Tunes. It's
interesting. Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know me TV had that stuff.
Yuppers.
Coolio.
Okay, guys. Well, have a happy Independence Day, everybody, or happy 4th of July.
Remember why.
Yep.
73,
Yeah,
Arnie.
And thanks, Nick. Thanks, Gal. It was fun today too, and I hope Spence had the chance to listen to us somewhere on the road. Good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Donna, Dina, Arlette and Micha, Eleanor, Sarid. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And again, remember, Nick does Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. drive time, his show on news on WAAV in Wilmington, and you can listen to it anywhere in the world. Just tell your Echo to play 980 The Wave. And Tuesday at 7, Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast on Twitch, and you can go to twitch.tv/Infection podcast, one word, no spaces there. And that's for gamers, survival games, and all kind of reports. Interesting. Even I'm into it. And we'll see you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.